The Dropkick Murphys were playing loud on the speakers, as Uncle Bill and I told the gripping stories of how we got away from the pubs. Well, Uncle Bill had a whole crazy story. I just turned a corner and climbed into a dumpster. We'd gotten free. Then, when we found out what happened, decided to stay over while we organised a service for Bob and Meg. It took a few days, but we were finally here. First, it seemed it was a bit of a meet and greet. Everyone wanted to know where we'd been these last few months. So you know, the bag comes off, and I'm tied to a chair in some unfinished building, right? Uncle Bill took a drink. But I'm only tied to the chair by the arms, because what crazy old guy's going to stand up and fight people with a chair tied to his back, you know? Everyone laughed. Anyone who knew Uncle Bill knew he was such a crazy old guy. So there's two eggplants yelling some stuff at me. Oh, Prikimon Vakri and the rest of that stuff. I tell them to take the dicks out of their mouths because I don't speak their fucking language. Then I stand up, swing the chair around, knocking the first perp's legs out from under her. She must have hit a table or something because she didn't get back up. Uncle Bill took another drink. But the momentum makes me go down too, so I kick the other in the knee, and she goes down too. But she's getting back up and I still have a chair tied to my back. So I get back to my feet and I jump. Now I'm already hauled by the chair, so it makes for a pretty easy front flip, right? So, flip, 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 and I crash right down on her, chair side down. Then I jump through the window. Bullshit, somebody said. I will neither confirm nor deny, I responded. I had found Uncle Bill in an alley, surrounded by broken glass, but on the other hand, Uncle Bill was a firm believer in never let the truth get in the way of a good story. But enough about me, Uncle Bill said. That's not why we're here. He got up and rang the bell to buy a round for the whole bar. All right, I just brought you all around, so you're obligated to listen to an old man for a bit. Everyone laughed. I assume we all know what happened at Grimsville Hospital, he says somberly. Bob and Meg were personal friends of mine, so I wanted to deliver them a eulogy personally. A few perps walked in. This is a bad time, Alice said from behind the bar. Out! She snapped when they didn't budge. The bouncer and a few of the bigger patrons grabbed them and threw them out on the street. Where was I? Yeah. I didn't know Bob and Meg for very long, mostly the last 2 months. But we all know, we of all people know, a lot's happened these last 2 months. Hear, hear. And I knew they were good people. I don't know what drove Bob to hold the hospital hostage, but he wouldn't have done it without a damn good reason. I suspected I knew what it was, but that could come later. Anyways, this was the point where Alice started pouring the booze. I helped pass them around. We'd known each other since elementary school. Not well, she was just a girl in my class, really. While it sounded like Uncle Bill was finishing up, I moved my ass to get the rest of the shots passed out. Bob loved Jack Daniels, so he passed around shots of that. At last, I took one for myself. This one's for you, Bob and Meg. Uncle Bill lit a shot on fire and set it aside. To the Tiernan family. We all downed our shots. Send the purse to hell, someone shouted. The rest of the service was a blur. We all milled around, talking, and doing more shots. Near the end of the night, Uncle Bill and I were just sitting at the bar. Most of the usual suspects had gone home by now. We were just sitting and drinking Boilermakers and thinking, when someone came in and sat next to us. Bar's closed, Alice said, as she carried some stuff to the back. Private thing tonight. I'm not going to be a long time, the woman said. She turned to us. I was there. Sorry, what? Uncle Bill threw another shot of Jack into his beer before turning to her. The hospital. I was there when everything happened. She took my Boilermaker and started sipping it. Beer and a bump, I sighed. As Alice got me another Boilermaker, I looked over at the mysterious lady. Thanks for your condolences, but you kind of missed the funeral. Not here about that. All that respect's paid and condolences are bullshit if we just let it happen again and again. She took another sip. I'm talking armed revolution. We fight the baby killers, she added, when we must have looked dumb. Sorry, what? I was far too drunk for this, and I'm sure Uncle Bill was too. Look, it's not like all out war or anything. We all help each other out, support anyone who's actually fighting, blah blah. Lady, Uncle Bill groaned. Threatening violence is what got us where we are now. No, she said. The Shulvanti denying medical treatment to suspected forest bandits for not having their perp-issued IDs is what got us where we are. She drained her Boilermaker and told us the story of Bob and Meg, the final one, the one we'd missed while trapped in a dumpster and tied to a chair respectively. The three of us sat there, drinking our Boilermakers. Every so often, Alice poured us another. Damn, I figured. Maybe you were right. By now, I'd had so many drinks it came out as right, but the point came across. Okay, Tom, I'm cutting you off. Alice took the glass off the table. Great. Can I have some water? Alice rolled her eyes and slid a glass my way. Thanks. I slammed the shit back. Uncle Bill threw up his hands in defeat. Okay, you win. We need to do something about the eggplants. What do you suggest? Well, first we need to recruit some people. An old man and Drinky the Clown here aren't exactly much BAMS regardless. We'll think of some things. No doubt people want to join, Uncle Bill figured. But we need a way to get it out to a whole ton of people. I got an idea, I slurred. There has to be, like, security footage of the whole thing. What if we stole it and released it? Somehow, I added, after a moment's notice. Everyone looked at me. The drunk has a good idea, the lady said. That'd get us a lot of pissed off people. Uncle Bill observed the glass closely. But you're going to do it. I can't. Dr. What's-Her-Face looked at us both. What? It wasn't a word of complaint or anything. I was just confused. You work there, right? Like, wouldn't you blend in? She shook her head. Everyone there recognizes me, human or Shulvanti. Guess we're going to the hospital. Uncle Bill looked over at me. Tomorrow, Tom. You better sleep that off. Yeah. I just passed out on the bar. The next morning, Uncle Bill and I were driving out to the hospital yet again. Things, it seemed, were back to normal. Right. Normal. So we parked and went in. I couldn't keep a weapon. After the events of the last few days, anything resembling a weapon was confiscated. I even had to relinquish the change from my wallet. Not that money meant much anymore. But once I was through, I grabbed the first thing I saw, a bone saw off a cart of tools. Before anyone could see, I tucked it in my pants leg. After that, it was just a quick look around. There were a few eggplants at the door, a few harassing the doctors. Cool. None were focused on the weedy guy with the Rambo haircut and the nervous look who had a serrated blade in his pants. According to our mysterious doctor lady, I went through the first door to the staircase, then go up to the 5th floor. Uncle Bill had told me never to use the elevator in a hostile area like this. Elevators could be stopped, hauling me right into a shitload of guns. So I hoofed it and gave my legs a workout. The 2nd and 3rd floors were fine. And then I froze as I approached the 4th floor landing. 2 voices were approaching, voices with the harsh cadence of the eggplants. Please don't come out the door, I silently begged, as the voices got closer. It seemed like a good idea, so I went back downstairs and hid around the corner. Please don't come out the door. The voices stopped for a moment. I held my breath. Then they sounded like they were moving away, and I sighed with relief. I finally made it to the 5th floor and listened. Since I didn't hear any voices or footsteps, I tentatively stepped out. From here, the security office was just down the hall. One more look inside, and I just about froze. There was a huge perp in there. A huge perp leaning back, feet up on the desk. Sounded like she was asleep. I opened the door and crept in. Now, from what I understood, the system was old as shit, and still kept the files on DVD. The trick was to find the one from 3 days ago, and oh shit, the perp was awake. This security office was too cramped to pull out one of the huge Shulvanti rifles, but that didn't stop her from picking me up by the neck and throwing me against the table. Shattered glass and TV parts rained down around me. The big purple bitch had thrown me into the screens. I scrambled around, picking up whatever I could. There was no way I would stick my hand down my pants with a saw. That'd be awkward. Luckily, my hands closed on a piece of glass from one of the screens. I jabbed it hard into the hand around my throat. She yelped and snatched her hand back as the glass went in. I, of course, got to my feet and took the opportunity to grab the bone saw while she pulled out her knife. Now, Uncle Bill and I figured this out while in the woods. The perps were big and strong, and this gave them an advantage. That advantage, however, went both ways. If I could get her off balance... I dropped to the floor as she swung. As the knife went over my head, I lay on my stomach, carving open the back of her leg, just below the knee. She hollered as her leg gave out, dropping and grabbing my head. I saw stars as she repeatedly smashed my head against the leonium, but I struck with the saw again, tearing open her thigh. She changed tack, instead lunging for the alarm button. This just wouldn't do. I grabbed her, and she slammed back to the floor before she could reach the button. And now I had the advantage. Grabbing a fistful of hair, I pulled her head back, running the saw across her throat. The soft, wet flesh bulged and splattered, as if it had been packed in there ready to burst. Now that the Marine was dead, I rifled through the discs. It was May 6th, 7th, 8th. Perfect. I grabbed the ancient CD case marked May 9th, shoved it in my bag and booked it. And by booked it, I mean I limped off. I had another idea. I grabbed a can labelled medical oxygen, flammable, and held it out in front of me. That was going to be my shield. The perps probably didn't care about collateral damage or a hospital in a backwater town on a backwater world, I reasoned. But they probably didn't want to blow themselves up either. I eventually made it back to the truck and climbed in. Uncle Bill had, as promised, kept it warm and ready to go at a moment's notice. Step on it! And with that we were off. Who's that vet you knew? The one who did people medicine back alley?